Around 4,500 years ago, on the edge of the Egyptian desert, human beings built something so enormous that even today, standing beneath it can make you question what the ancient world was capable of. The Great Pyramid of Giza. For thousands of years, it was the tallest known human-made structure on Earth. It was built during Egypt's fourth dynasty for Pharaoh Khufu, also known as Cheops. And despite centuries of exploration, archaeology still cannot answer every question about what lies inside it. But the most intriguing part of this story is not an ancient legend. It is something scientists actually detected. In 2017, researchers announced the discovery of a previously unknown large void inside the Great Pyramid. They didn't find it by breaking through the walls. They didn't open an ancient door. They found it using particles that constantly fall from space, muons. These particles are produced when cosmic rays interact with Earth's atmosphere. They can pass through enormous amounts of stone, and by measuring how many reach detectors placed around and inside the pyramid, scientists can estimate where the structure is less dense. The technique is called Muon radiography, and when researchers applied it to the Great Pyramid, something unexpected appeared: a large empty space. The structure was located above the Grand Gallery and had a minimum length of about 30 meters. Researchers detected it using 3 different muon detection technologies and independent analyses, giving them high confidence that the void was real. But there was a problem. Nobody knew what it was for. Was it a corridor, a chamber, a construction space, or something else entirely? The scientists were careful not to claim that it contained a hidden treasure chamber or an undiscovered tomb. The evidence showed the existence of a large void. It did not reveal its purpose, and that distinction is important because the Great Pyramid is surrounded by thousands of years of speculation. Over the centuries, people have imagined secret rooms, lost knowledge, hidden treasures, and mysteries that go far beyond the archaeological evidence. But the real story is already mysterious enough. The Great Pyramid was built for Khufu during the 4th dynasty, at a time when Egypt had no modern cranes, engines, computers, or industrial machinery. Yet somehow, an enormous stone monument was planned, quarried, transported, positioned, and completed on the Giza Plateau. Exactly how every stage of its construction was organized remains a subject of archaeological study, and there is still no single explanation accepted for every detail of its construction. Inside the pyramid, archaeologists already knew about several major spaces. There is the descending passage, the subterranean chamber, the Queen's chamber, the Grand Gallery, and the King's chamber. These spaces are connected by passages and corridors that reveal just how carefully the interior of the monument was designed. But for centuries, nobody knew that a large void existed above the Grand Gallery. Then, modern science changed the story. And the strangest part is that the pyramid itself had been standing there the entire time. The secret wasn't newly created. It had been waiting inside the stone for more than 4 millennia, and scientists discovered it without removing a single block. But the story didn't end with the big void, because another hidden structure was waiting on the northern side of the pyramid. Behind the enormous stone structure known as the Chevron, researchers had detected another previously unknown space. This time, the evidence pointed toward a corridor-shaped structure. In 2023, researchers published a detailed analysis based on muon measurements. They estimated that the structure was approximately 9 meters long, with a cross-section of about 2 meters by 2 meters. Again, the discovery was real. Again, the question was simple: why was it there? And that question takes us deeper into one of the most fascinating archaeological mysteries on Earth. Because the Great Pyramid is not mysterious because we know nothing about it. It is mysterious because we know a great deal, and yet there are still parts we cannot explain. The discovery of the hidden void was not the end of the mystery in many ways. It was only the beginning, because finding an empty space inside the Great Pyramid is one thing. Understanding why it exists is something else entirely. For thousands of years, the pyramid had stood in the desert, exposed to the sun, wind, and countless generations of human beings. Yet its internal structure had remained largely inaccessible. The ancient builders had sealed enormous amounts of information inside the stone itself. Modern technology was finally beginning to read some of it. The most important breakthrough came from a technique called muon radiography. Muons are tiny particles created when cosmic rays collide with Earth's atmosphere. They constantly pass through us, through buildings, and even through mountains. But when they travel through dense material, such as limestone, some of them are absorbed or deflected. By placing detectors around the Great Pyramid and measuring the muons that reach them, researchers could identify areas where fewer particles were being stopped. Those areas could indicate empty spaces. This was how the large void above the Grand Gallery was detected. The discovery was remarkable because the researchers did not have to drill through the pyramid to find it. They essentially used particles from space to look inside one of the oldest surviving monuments on Earth. But the technology revealed something else. The void was not simply a tiny gap between stones. The 2017 study estimated that it was at least around 30 meters long and located above the Grand Gallery. The researchers could determine its approximate position, but they could not directly see inside it, and that limitation matters. A scientific measurement can tell us that a structure exists. It cannot automatically tell us why the ancient builders created it. That question remains open. Was the void part of the pyramid's original architectural design? Could it have helped reduce the enormous weight pressing down on the Grand Gallery? Was it connected to the construction process, or did it serve another function that archaeologists have not yet identified? At present, there is no definitive answer. And then came another discovery. On the northern side of the pyramid, behind the distinctive chevron structure, researchers detected a previously unknown corridor. The corridor was estimated to be approximately 9 meters long and around 2 meters wide and 2 meters high. Unlike the enormous void above the Grand Gallery, this structure appeared much more corridor-like. Its position was particularly interesting because it lies close to the original entrance region of the pyramid. Researchers suggested that understanding this corridor could help explain the purpose of the chevron itself. But once again, the evidence stopped before the final answer. The corridor could be detected, its approximate dimensions could be estimated, its location could be determined. But its original purpose remained uncertain. And that is where the Great Pyramid becomes truly fascinating, because there is a difference between discovering something unknown and understanding it. Archaeology is full of objects that survived thousands of years without preserving the intentions of the people who created them. We can measure a wall, we can date a stone, we can reconstruct a passage, but we cannot always reconstruct the thought that existed in the mind of the person who designed it. The Great Pyramid was built for Pharaoh Khufu during Egypt's 4th dynasty, more than 4,000 years ago. Its construction required an enormous amount of organization. Stone had to be quarried, materials had to be transported, workers had to coordinate construction on a monumental scale, and every part of the structure had to fit into an enormous architectural plan. The ancient Egyptians left evidence of their society, their religion, their administration, and their construction methods, but they did not leave behind a modern architectural blueprint explaining every part of the Great Pyramid. That is why researchers continue to debate some of its construction details, and that uncertainty has created space for countless theories. Over the centuries, people have claimed that the pyramid was built by lost civilizations, supernatural forces, or even visitors from other worlds. But none of those extraordinary claims has credible archaeological evidence behind it. The evidence points to ancient Egypt, to Egyptian engineering, to Egyptian labor, and to a civilization capable of constructing monuments on a scale that still impresses the modern world. The real mystery is therefore not whether humans built the Great Pyramid. They did. The deeper mystery is how every detail of its construction was organized and what purpose each hidden space served. And perhaps modern science is only beginning to uncover the answer. The Great Pyramid is no longer simply being explored by archaeologists carrying lanterns through ancient passages. It is being studied with particle detectors, three-dimensional imaging, thermal measurements, and other non-invasive technologies. Every new technique offers another way to examine the monument without destroying it, and that is crucial because the Great Pyramid has already survived for more than 4,000 years. Researchers don't need to rush. They need to preserve it. They need to measure it. And they need to separate evidence from speculation. The hidden void discovered in 2017 is real. The North Face corridor detected and studied in later research is real, but what lies beyond the evidence remains unknown. And perhaps one day technology will allow scientists to investigate these spaces more directly. Perhaps they will discover another chamber. Perhaps they will find nothing at all. Perhaps the spaces were simply part of the engineering that allowed the pyramid to stand for thousands of years. Whatever the answer turns out to be, it will have to come from evidence, not legends, not viral claims, not stories created to make the mystery more dramatic, because the truth is already extraordinary. More than 4,000 years ago, ancient Egyptian builders created a monument so enormous that modern scientists are still finding things hidden inside it, and the pyramid has been waiting patiently while humanity developed the technology to look deeper. Today, the Great Pyramid still dominates the Giza Plateau. The desert around it has changed. Cities have grown around it. Empires have risen and disappeared. Languages have changed. Technologies have transformed the world. But the pyramid remains, and somewhere behind those ancient limestone blocks are spaces whose original purpose may still be waiting to be understood. Maybe there is another discovery ahead. Maybe there isn't. But one thing is certain. The Great Pyramid has not revealed all of its secrets yet. And perhaps the most fascinating question is no longer whether something is hidden inside. It is this: how many questions are still waiting for us inside a monument that has already survived more than 4,500 years?